Today I want to talk about Blackstrap Molasses. Have you ever heard of that stuff? One of the biggest things, it's got several uses. One of those cheap home remedies. This is the stuff here. I got a bunch of them. It's more, I don't know, 8 of them or something. And it's Blackstrap Molasses. One of the things it's good for is anemia. Because it has, one of the problems they have with American diets is you lack trace elements. I know you can get stuff through vitamin pills, like you can get selenium is one of the things that's important, copper, zinc, your potassium, and a number of vanadium. There's a lot of little trace elements. But the reason you get it in molasses is because the roots of them go down really far from the sugar cane where this is processed from, and it pulls out a lot of the nutrients deep in the soil and it gets into molasses itself. Now, the other thing is, if you take trace elements in a pill form, it depends on how the formula is, and is it going to be absorbed in the body. In other words, the trace elements might be in that pill that you take, but does it get absorbed in the body? Now, when I have product, I have a lot of faith in is nature's way of life, and it does have a lot of trace elements in it. But sometimes, to be guaranteed that you're getting the best stuff is to take the natural way, from the foods itself. That's really why you should really take raw organic foods a lot of times too. Raw organic milk, which is illegal in a lot of places. But, raw foods are actually some of the best ones going. But Blackstrap Molasses is a really, really smart thing to get, and it's cheap. Anything I tell you to do, it don't break the bank. It's like one of those cheap foods. It's food. It's got energy in it. Now, the problem is if you take this straight, ugh. Now, some people can take it. Now, I'm going to tell you what it does, though, I guess first before how I take it. But it's good for anemia, for one. A lot of people say it helps them with anemia, helps boost their energy levels up, because it's got some natural sugars in it and stuff. But, it's not like, taking plain table sugar, which is like poison practically. This is different. It's almost like the good kind of energy sugars like honey, except it's molasses. And another thing is it has iron in it. So, like, in other words, but the iron gets absorbed into the body. That's the thing. Like, in other words, a pill might not get absorbed into the body. It seems to work when it's in a sugar base, a sugar type natural base like this, a plant food. The body seems to assimilate all these things. Another thing, some people claim, I don't know how legit this is, but I mean, there's some truth to it. There's a trace element copper in here, which is good for, I'll tell you the truth, it's really known, even going back to the ancients. Copper has been something that's been very helpful with beauty. Like Queen Cleopatra, Queen of Sheba, they used to grind up copper real fine in a paste and put it on their skin because it helps with collagen production, right? That has copper in it. The thing is, it gets absorbed in the body. It's in its natural base. It's in black molasses. Anytime if you take a copper pill, it may not get absorbed in the body, even if it's chelated like it would in a base that's actually like a plant-derived food. See, that's probably why this stuff works so damn good. It's not that it just has the trace element. It's got the blend of everything else in there, and the body just absorbs it good. So copper's been known to help with beauty, bringing up collagen, and actually collagen, bringing up your collagen levels, helps with arthritis. Actually going back to the ancients, it was Pliny the Elder. I'll digress a little bit. But Pliny the Elder, one of the doctors in the Roman world, found that the people that worked in the copper mines never got rheumatoidism or arthritis. So he used to prescribe a type of copper to help with arthritis. Then they rediscovered this again in Norway with the miners and also Germany. So copper helps with collagen production, and it helps with your skin beauty, your overall health, the connectivity tissues, the ligaments, the tendons, and cartilage, and everything. The collagen goes throughout the body. So having something with copper in it that gets absorbed in the body because it's in a natural food helps with arthritis and beauty, right? Helps with anemia because the iron's in there. Also, copper has to do with the melanin, the coloring of the hair. So a lot of times if people are deficient in copper, they'll get prematurely gray. There's a few people, I don't know how, the thing is, it's like, this is cheap. It's good, healthful food in a lot of ways. I'm not going to say it's going to restore your gray hair. It may help if you're like deficient in copper, though. If you're deficient in copper and you have some gray hair due to deficiency in copper, this is one of the better ways of getting copper because it's in a natural food. Now, also in women, it helps with menopausal issues and also menstrual issues, hormonal issues, because of the trace elements. And a lot of women have said that it helps greatly with that time of the month. Problems at that time of the month, taking Blackstrap Molasses. Now, the way I take this, some people just take a teaspoon and they stick it in there and they go, oh, and I'm like, ugh, that shit's gross. What I do is I take, I don't bother boiling water. I take, you use the coffee pot, you put a little water in it, and you got some hot water, right? And then I put this in the bottom of the glass, a tablespoon. I put the hot water on top of it from the, the coffee pot, right? I just made a little hot water. It takes you a minute, not even. You stir it up, and then I put chocolate soy milk on it, with some ice, and I put vanilla whey protein. I don't even taste this stuff, but it's in there, so that's how I take it. Anyways, that's, it's like I don't even know I'm getting it. But it does seem to improve energy levels, and a lot of people say the biggest thing it seems to do is work with anemia and menstrual issues, too, with women. And copper, it has the copper in it, like in a very absorbable way. Lack of copper does lead to arthritic problems because of it's not helping you produce the collagen. And also, copper's been known for beauty, big time. And if you get into a little like, it's kind of like BS, I guess you would call it. Copper's been associated with the planet Venus, and the planet Venus has been associated with women, beauty, and love, and all this type of stuff. So copper has this molasses has copper in it, but the thing is, the copper is very absorbable. Now, another thing about copper, I'm kind of digressing a little bit, but just to give you a little more background on this stuff, like if you take a lot of vitamin C, and a lot of people do take a lot of vitamin C, it depletes the copper in your body. So, like, everything's like a balance. That's why, to keep it simple, a lot of times they say take Nature's Way Alive, whole food, multi-energizer, multi-mineral, multi-vitamin, and you got the nice blend. But, if you're taking vitamin C separately and you're taking a lot of vitamin C, you're depleting the copper in your body. So a lot of times that's probably a common cause, probably a common problem in the United States, where there's a lot of people that are probably copper deficient. And you got to remember, the soils that plants are being grown into today are not as enriched as they used to be. And actually, if you look throughout the world, a lot of times people live to be like 120 or 100 years old and are like perfect health and they hardly have any wrinkles and they still smoke cigarettes. A lot of times these people like that seem to have this fountain of youth, they live in these areas where like the soils are really rich. Like they'll have glacier runoff or something from the, there'll be a lot of minerals in the soil. So a lot of ways, the good way to get the minerals is through this blackstrap molasses, because the plant that this comes from, the roots go way deep into the ground, so they pull out a lot of the trace elements, and they pull out stuff in the soils that all the other plants don't. And the other thing is the trace elements that are in here are at its base, that your body really absorbs these trace elements. It's not the fact that there's so much percentage of trace elements in here or whatever. It's the fact that your body will absorb this stuff. But number one, it seems to work for is anemia. Number two, helps with the collagen production, which can help, with arthritis in some ways and, youthfulness. And could help with the gray hair if you're deficient in copper. And some women report this helps with menstrual issues and stuff too. So, and the other thing is, it's a simple way to take it. It's like, you don't have to boil water. You put a little water. You could, I don't use a microwave because I don't even trust microwave water. I'll put the water in the coffee pot and just make a little bit of hot water. So when you put this in with it, it gets mixed up. And then you put that in, like I put it in chocolate soy milk with some ice, and vanilla whey protein powder. And, I don't even know what's there. But otherwise, if you take it straight, some people can. I think it tastes lousy, but it's a great thing to take, and it's cheap. I mean, this whole thing, it's like a few bucks. And, you take a teaspoon out of this, lasts you a long time. But you remember, it's food. It's nourishment. So it's not like, you're buying something that's extra. It's nourishment. So, but like it can help you with anemia, maybe gray hair, maybe arthritis too. Anemia seems to be the big thing. And one of the things is, like I said, people are lacking trace elements in their diet. And if you get the trace elements in a pill, even the better pills, even the ones that are like chelated, minerals that are trace elements are in there, and they say they're highly absorbable. I don't think they're as absorbable as in something like this, where it's actually from the plant itself. The trace elements are right in the food. And like I said, these roots go way deep in the ground. That's why this has the trace elements. It's like other plants, the roots don't go as deep in the ground. This pulls up stuff out of the ground that is the best stuff in the soils that the body needs. So, it could help with longevity too. Hey, nutrition, despite what they say, I don't want to knock doctors or nothing, really. But, obviously, nutrition heals the body, right? Nutrition is the building blocks that make up the body. And if you're missing something, you're missing a building block, and it doesn't help you restore your health, right? So, in a lot of ways, these things that they call alternative medicine, they work. It ain't alternative. It's freaking common sense. It's food. You need food to survive. And if you have the right, they say, the doctors might say a balanced meal is all you need, but you're probably not getting the best balanced meal. There's reasons why in certain parts of the world, people live to be way over 100. It's because somehow in the soils, they're getting like a lot better nutrition, absorbed through the plants, and then they eat that, and then it's helping their body. So these are one of the things where you can get some extra nutrition. Blackstrap molasses. And probably the number one thing that people say this really helps with is anemia, lack of energy. And it's cheap. It's cheap. And it's nothing artificial. It's not going to hurt you in any way. And the worst thing about it is the taste. But like I said, boil some water in the coffee pot, and mix it in with the water. And then you can mix it with any kind of drink, and then it's great to take. So simple, cheap, and does a hell of a lot. Give it a try. Anything I recommend doesn't break the bank at all, and it's part of your food group. So you're really out no money at all.